Osmoregulation. For aquatic animals, mainly for fish, their way of maintaining their homeostasis is called osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is based largely on regulating solutes because water follows osmosis. Remember osmosis? Osmosis occurs whenever two solution is separated by a membrane that differ in total solute concentration. Osmoconformers are the seawater animals. They are organisms whose body fluids have a solute concentration equal to that of its surroundings. They do not have a net gain or loss of water by osmosis. Freshwater fish has a much higher solute concentration in its internal fluids than that of freshwater, creating an osmotic problem for animals. Freshwater animals maintain a proper water and solute balance by allowing the water to help supply some ions as their gills take up salt actively. The fish kidneys work constantly to produce large amounts of dilute urine. Osmoregulators are the freshwater animals. They are organisms whose body fluids have a solute concentration different from that of its environment and that must use energy in controlling matter loss or gain. Saltwater fish has the opposite osmoregulatory problem. Because its internal fluids are lower than total solutes than seawater, a saltwater fish loses water by osmosis across its body surface. The fish balances the water loss by drinking large amounts of seawater, and it pumps excess salt out through its gills. It also saves water by producing only some amounts of urine, in which it disposes some excess ions.
Did you know that the saying that a person needs an 8 glasses of water a day is not based on scientific evidence? The Institution of Medicine, a national research panel, determined that most people do not deliberately need to drink additional water. The average healthy person gets enough fluid from a piece of beverage, even those with caffeine, as well as those water content of food. For men, an average of 3.8 liters a day is adequate, while women needs about 2.6 liters. Also, sweating is an important thermoregulatory mechanism, but can also cause osmoregulatory problems. Fluid loss from sweating can exceed to 2 liters per hour, but can be prevented by maintaining proper hydration.
Did you know that almost all of the foods that we eat every day contain nitrogenous waste? From the meats of the fish up to the pork, beef, chicken, etc. One example is the balot. The liquid in the balot is the waste of the chick, which is called the uric acid. Another nitrogenous waste is the urea, which comes from mammals, amphibians, sharks, and some bony fishes. And the last type of nitrogenous waste is the ammonia, which comes from most aquatic animals, including fish. But these three nitrogenous wastes are not harmful to our body, because our body's digestive system can break down these wastes.
What's wrong with you? My stomach is aching. Really? Let's go to the doctor to see what's wrong with you. Come on. Can't you stand?
Which part?
Here you go.
Let's have an examination first.
Hey Doc, what's the matter?
Well, according to my diagnosis, you have liver cirrhosis, a disease that distorts the liver's internal structure. The scar tissue slowly replaces functioning liver tissue, gradually diminishing blood flow to the liver. This damage impairs the liver's many functions. It's because of high alcohol consumption. The liver's cleansing ability is less affected from toxins that it passes. Some breakdown products of the alcohol are more toxic than the alcohol itself, which leads to liver cell damage, cell death, and even tissue inflammation. Also, heavy and frequent exposure to alcohol can damage the liver by the formation of abnormal scar tissue. So, that's about it.
There you go. Maurice is diagnosed with liver cirrhosis. Here we're in Doc Panda. They will further discuss to us the roles of excretory system in our body. So Doc, what is the major role of excretory system in our body?
Well, basically, there are four major practices in excretory system. The first one is filtration. It is the extraction of water and small solids, including metabolic waste, from the blood by the nephron. The second one is reabsorption, the reclaiming of water and valuable solids from the filter. The third one is secretion, the discharge of waste from the blood to the filtrate of the nephron and tubules. And the last one is excretion, the disposal of nitrogen containing metabolic waste.
So Doc, what are the major parts of the kidney for this specific function?
Well, the major parts are the ureter, the duct that conveys urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is the pouch where urine is stored prior to elimination. Urethra, the duct that conveys urine from the urinary bladder to the outside. The nephron, the tiny functional unit. It consists of a nephron tubules and associated blood vessels. It extracts a tiny amount of filtrate from the blood and then refines the filtrate into a much smaller quantity of urine. Bowman's capsule, the cup-shaped swelling which is the receiving end of the nephron. Collecting duct, the other end of the nephron which carries urine to the renal filter. And the last one is glomerulus, the ball of capillaries of the Bowman's capsule and the
Now Doc, what can you say about the liver?
The liver is an important organ that performs many functions in the body. The liver produces urea, breaks down excess amino acids for energy or recycling, converts toxins such as alcohol and other drugs into inactive products that can be excreted in urine. The metabolic machinery of its cells is so versatile. Synthesizes bile for digestion of fats, regulates the amount of glucose in the blood, converts glucose into glycogen, and regulates metabolism.
Now there you have it. We have now a clear view of how the excretory system works.